Hello, my name is Demetrius McBride. I'm a lifelong resident of Columbus, Georgia. I've spent much of my life serving this community as a teacher, mentor, minister, and community leader. This series is designed to help you better understand how government works right here in Columbus, Georgia, at the state level in Atlanta, and at the federal level in Washington, D.C. Welcome to Civics in Columbus, from City Hall to Capitol Hill. Before we get into today's episode, let's take a moment to recap where we left off. In our last episode, we focused on the Columbus City Council, which serves as the legislative branch of our local government. We talked about how the council is responsible for passing laws, setting policy, and approving city budgets. We also cleared up a common misconception. Many people believe the mayor runs everything. But in reality, most of the decision-making power when it comes to laws and policies rests with the council. We discussed how council members are elected, how meetings are conducted, and why public participation is so very, very important. The key takeaways from that episode is this: the council decides what should happen in our city, but that leads us to the next question: who actually makes those decisions happen? Now that we understand how the council sets the direction of the city, let's take a look at the next step and look at who is responsible for carrying out the vision for it and making it a reality. Now, in many cities, people assume the mayor runs everything, but local government is often much more complex than that. In this episode, we're going to talk about the role of the mayor, the executive leadership team, and how policies are actually carried out here in Columbus. Let's start with the big picture. Think about city government like a business. The city council is like the board of directors. They set the direction and make the major decisions. The mayor is like the CEO, providing leadership and representing the organization. And the city manager is the COO, Chief Operating Officer, making sure the day-to-day operations run smoothly. The council decides what should be done. The executive branch makes sure it gets done. So now that we understand how the executive branch functions, let's take a closer look at the role of the mayor, starting with the term and qualifications required to serve. The mayor of Columbus is elected to a 4-year term. To run for mayor, a person must be at least 25 years old, a U.S. citizen, and a resident of Columbus, Georgia for at least 2 years. In Columbus, a mayor can serve no more than 2 consecutive terms. Now that we've covered how someone becomes a mayor, let's take a closer look at what the mayor actually does in their role. The mayor serves as the public face of the city, representing Columbus in meetings, events, and partnerships, and speaking on behalf of the community. The mayor also presides over city council meetings. However, the mayor does not vote on issues unless there is a tie. Another key responsibility is making appointments. The mayor nominates positions like the city manager and city attorney, but those nominations must be approved by the city council. The mayor can also recommend removing those individuals subject to council approval. The mayor signs official documents, including ordinances, contracts, and other legal agreements, and serves as the ceremonial head of the city. In emergency situations, and with the consent of the council, the mayor can take command of public safety operations and act quickly to respond to urgent situations. The mayor can also call special meetings of the council and request reconsideration of ordinances. The mayor is responsible for submitting the city's annual operating and capital budget and recommending policies to the council. The mayor also plays a role in appointing key public safety leaders, such as the police chief, fire chief, with council approval. Now, even with all these responsibilities, there still has to be a plan in place for continuity of leadership. So let's take a look at what happens when the mayor is unavailable. If the mayor is unable to perform their duties, the mayor pro tem steps in and carries out those responsibilities. As we stated in the last episode, the current mayor pro tem for Columbus, Georgia is Councilor Gary Allen of District 6. Now that we've covered who steps in when the mayor is absent, let's shift our focus on the position that handles the day-to-day operations of the city, that COO, the city manager. Let's talk about it, our city manager, because it's one of the most important roles in local government and one that many people are not familiar with. Nope, it's not an elected position, but it plays a vital role in the operations of the day-to-day lives of Columbus, Georgia. The city manager is appointed by the mayor and approved by the council. The city manager can also be removed by a 2/3 vote of the council. While the city manager does not have to live in Columbus at the time of appointment, they are required to move here within a few months. So with that in mind, let's break down the core responsibilities of the city manager and how this role keeps the city running each day. The city manager is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the city. I've said it a few times now. This includes supervising all departments and making sure that services are delivered effectively. The city manager hires and oversees department heads, manages city staff, and ensures the policies passed by the council are carried out. The city manager also prepares the city's budget, which is then submitted by the mayor to the council for approval. Another key responsibility is keeping both the mayor and the council informed. The city manager provides reports of the city's finances, operations, and overall condition. The city manager oversees public infrastructure, including roads, facilities, and other city property, and plays a key role in coordinating across departments. In many ways, the city manager serves as the bridge between policy and action. They make it all happen. That leads us to the next layer of city government, the departments, boards, and commissions that support daily operations and services. Department directors manage specific areas of city government, such as public safety and public works. These directors are appointed by the city manager and approved by the council. There are also board and commissions that help guide decisions in certain areas. These are appointed by the council and provide additional oversight and input. With that understanding in place, let's now talk about the key takeaways, how all of the structure impacts leadership and decision making in our local city. If I could sum it all up into some key citizen takeaways from this episode 4, essentially what it means is that no single person runs the city. I repeat, no single one person runs the city. There are checks and balances built into the system. The council sets policy, the mayor provides leadership and direction, and the city manager ensures that everything runs day to day. Understanding this structure helps you know where decisions are coming from and who is responsible for carrying them out. Now that we've broken down how the system works, let's wrap things up with a quick recap of what we covered in today's episode. In this episode, we talked about the executive branch, how leadership works in Columbus, and how decisions are put into action. In the next episode, we'll continue building on this foundation so that we can better understand how all parts of local government work together. Until next time, stay engaged, stay encouraged, and most importantly, stay firm. Demetrius McBride signing out. Peace.